Hey everybody, Wayne Baker here. I'm one of the staff therapists at Affair Recovery. And I just want to talk to you a few minutes about what I've been experiencing the last 6 weeks as I've been at home doing phone and video sessions with many of my clients and maybe even some of you. What I've noticed the last few days especially is there are some couples that are new to our community and that are considering doing EMS, the weekend, or EMS online, and they're not quite sure about the virtual EMS that we did just a couple of weeks ago for our April EMS. It was a first time that we did that. Rick live streamed his videos or his sessions and even took a few questions in there, and then we split the people up into their small groups, and I was one of the small group leaders like I do every month for years. But I want to tell you from my own personal experience of what that was like, especially for those of you that are maybe on the fence about whether to do the May virtual EMS, because who knows when we're going to be able to go back and do them live again. But I've fielded a few questions from a couple of couples that are considering doing it, and they're not quite sure if it's as effective. And I just want to tell you that it was surprisingly effective. You got to do this from the comfort of your own home and eat your own food and sleep in your own bed. That was one plus, I think. But for a lot of the couples, I just saw some of the same experiences of making connections with other people that are walking through this same situation or very similar situations. They made connections with each other that were just surprising to them. We weren't that surprised in a way. We weren't sure how it would happen, but it did. And I heard from many couples. I saw the 5 couples that I got to know really well form connections with each other and then do some really good, amazing, deep work around the truth and what recovery looks like and empathy development and empathy communication. We spend a ton of time on that. And then we began to open the door about how to handle conflict well. And what I've seen from doing it virtually this one time and now for years doing it live and in person, there really wasn't that much difference. And I just want to encourage you that if you're on the fence about whether or not to do the May virtual EMS, what I have seen over and over again is that couples wait too long and they suffer a little bit longer than they really need to. I totally believe that couples come to EMS when they're called to come and when they're supposed to come. If you're thinking about this, maybe consider doing and signing up for the virtual EMS in May. I believe the dates are May 15th through the 17th. I don't think you will regret it one bit because the experience is going to be so similar to coming and doing it live. And what you're going to get is a roadmap of what your recovery process is going to look like for you as a couple and for you as an individual too. And when you do that, you're going to get several articles back in addition to that roadmap, and 2 of them are called 20 of the most common mistakes that an unfaithful spouse makes and 20 mistakes that the betrayed spouse makes. What we want to point out is that there are some really common mistakes that everybody makes, and for the unfaithful spouse, a lot of times what I see is they will blame their spouse for the affair, and that's going to get you nowhere. The other one could be anger or defensiveness and failure to even talk about the infidelity. There are just certain things that are so helpful for both of your healing that this article is going to address and that we're going to address even in greater detail at EMS. For the betrayed spouse, there's an article for you too, and just to highlight a couple of those items that maybe you've struggled with already and maybe you haven't, but so many of the betrayed spouses that I work with and that I see sometimes your anger may get in the way of your own recovery and the recovery of the marriage. And I'm not saying you have every right to be angry, but don't let it get in the way of your grief and counting the losses and your sadness and your fear and your pain. Sometimes that happens. Well, quite honestly, that happens a lot. The other thing that really is so important as I think about EMS and what happens during that weekend is that it puts couples, I think anywhere from 4 to 6 months down the road of recovery in just 3 short days. I don't know of another place where so much healing can happen in such a little bit of time. I don't want to oversell it. I don't get a commission for doing this, but I've been doing this such a long time. I know and have seen this program that Affair Recovery does that Rick put together many, many years ago. I went through it 25 years ago. It saved my life. It saved my marriage. I just can't speak highly enough about it. And I think the thing that motivated me to do this today is I've had this conversation with several couples over the last few days around whether or not they should do this. So I hope you'll consider joining the team at the May Virtual EMS, and I don't think you will regret it one bit. And I just want to ask some of you that have done the Affair Analyzer and have read some of this material that you've got back, if you want to comment on what that's been like for you, or even some of you that have attended the April EMS virtually, feel free to write in the comments below and let us know what you think and give a word of encouragement to the people that may be considering coming to EMS. The virtual version of it in May anyway. So thanks so much for joining me again. We look forward to seeing you and hearing from you soon. Thanks so much.